There's free speech, and then there's hate speech.
If you want to go in and print posters with Charlie's pictures on them for a vigil, you have to let them do that.
Free speech! Do you care about free speech, or do you just care about not being offended or winning arguments? It would be natural if we did discover that all you cared about was not being offended and just winning arguments. Those are motivations that are quite common. Let's have a look at the free speech argument now and how it's being impacted.
There's free speech, and then there's hate speech.
Wait a minute. No, there isn't. There's just free speech. Hate speech. You know when, like, there has to be some sort of terrible legislation and they give it a nice name, like the Patriot Act. You know, you've got to like the Patriot Act, haven't you? What are you, not a patriot? Well, what is the Patriot Act? We're going to be spying on you and controlling you, you patriot. So what do you think's going on with hate speech? Hate speech is a way of ensuring that free speech, which is palpably and tangibly a good, necessary and constitutional matter, can be besmirched.
And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything. And that's across the aisle.
Look, this is, again, why I love the Lord. I started to feel this when it came to, say, one of the most controversial issues of our time. It's less controversial now, I suppose, but say trans issues and trans rights. Didn't you sort of feel somewhere within you, there must be a principle that can help me here. There must be a principle that can help me here. Oh yeah, here it is. Love one another. Kindness. Okay, so where am I on the love one another and kindness scale? If I'm loving people and I'm being kind, can I use that to help me with any and all cultural and identity issue? Yeah. There's a person over there, they're a Jew. Love one another. There's a person over there, they're a Muslim. Love one another. There's a person over there, they've said something mean about trans people. Love one another. There's a person over there, is a trans person. Love one another. There's a person over there making offensive remarks about Charlie Kirk's murder. Love one another. That's it. You don't kind of decide. Once I saw Ben Shapiro in some sort of congressional hearing, I don't remember what he was doing now, but like they asked him about same-sex marriage, and he said, do I, as an Orthodox Jew, believe in same-sex marriage? No, I'm an Orthodox Jew.
But again, just you to me, is it a sin or not?
From a religious Jewish perspective, orientation is not a sin, but activity is. That's also the same perspective of most major religions, so far as I'm aware.
I thought, well, that's good. He doesn't even have to think about it. Like, so whether or not you agree with something or not, if you've accepted a religious way of life, you just go, right, this is what my religion tells me. And amongst it, it says things like, don't judge, love one another, love God with all of your heart, love God not to get anything, but just because that's what we do, is we love God because we come from God, that we're about God. And if you try and return to those points, it'll help you through, I've found, a whole host of complex issues. Actually, it's irresistible and inexhaustible. This is obviously a post by Charlie Kirk, God rest his soul, about hate speech does not exist legally in America. There's ugly speech, there's gross speech, there's evil speech, and all of it's protected by the First Amendment, keep America free. And that's the very kind of thing about Charlie Kirk that I admire. Now let's have a look at this. This is Trump, I suppose, backing Pam Bondi.
And what do you make Pam Bondi saying she's going to go after hate speech? Is that, I mean, a lot of your allies say hate speech is free speech.
She'll probably go after people like you because you treat me so unfairly. It's hate. You have a lot of hate in your heart. Maybe they'll come after ABC. Well, ABC paid me $16 million recently for a form of hate speech, right? Your company paid me $16 million for a form of hate speech. So maybe they'll have to go after you.
This dude's a fighter, and I think a lot of people that really love Trump love that fight. Remember, like, a lot of my affection to Donald Trump comes from that kind of moment when he's, you ABC, I don't trust you, like that kind of, that somewhat gangster confrontational aspect of Trump is what I admire. And that obviously comes from my own emotional palate, my own emotional injuries and wounds. When it comes to a principle that's enshrined in your constitution, free speech, it don't matter what our personal affiliations are, it matters what the principle is. Either you agree with it or you don't. Here, Pam Bondi appears to be threatening to fire and prosecute people for celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, which, look, Obviously, that's a horrible thing to do. It's disgusting. People shouldn't be doing that. In the same way, you shouldn't burn the flag, because the flag to a lot of people means a great deal. People see it as the symbol of everything they love and what people they love died for. So to burn that, you're kind of deliberately insulting someone. So, yeah, that's not good. You shouldn't do that. But does it need to be a matter of law? Tell me in the comments and chat.
That's horrific. It's free speech, but you shouldn't be employed anywhere if you're going to say that. And employers, you have an obligation to get rid of people. You need to look at people who are saying horrible things, and they shouldn't be working with you. Businesses cannot discriminate. If you want to go in and print posters with Charlie's pictures on them for a vigil, you have to let them do that. We can prosecute you for that. I have Harmeet Dillon right now in our civil rights unit looking at that immediately, that Office Depot had done that. We're looking at that. But Sean,
makes me realise that one of the problems is secularism, the idea that we can separate our religious life from governmental life, which we're told is in order to preserve our religious freedoms. But in fact, it allows someone who's a Christian to almost put aside their Christian perspective while dealing with the most important matters that there are: truth, honesty, integrity, service. It's interesting. This is what Matt Walsh said about it. Get rid of her, Pam Bondi. It's insane. Conservatives have fought for decades for the right to refuse service to anyone. We won that fight. Now Pam Bondi wants to roll it back for no reason. The employee who didn't print the flyer was already fired by his employer. This stuff is being handled successfully through free speech and free markets. This is totally gratuitous and pointless. We need the Attorney General to focus on bringing down the left-wing terror cells, not prosecuting Office Depot, for God's sake. And he adds, between this free speech nonsense and Epstein, Pam Bondi has committed two of the most egregious errors we've ever seen from an Attorney General. How many seismic fuck-ups will Trump permit her before he cuts her loose? Is this a 10 strikes and you're out deal or what? That's a good commentary from Matt Walsh, because I know that he's a pretty conservative guy, and there you are. He seems that he's sticking to his principles rather than sort of parroting points that are expedient. Getting rich in 2025 is actually simpler than most people think. Is it? AI isn't just helpful anymore, it's required. Nearly all jobs today demand AI skills. Yes, they do. As chances of people who are skilled with AI is 130% more than the rest. Worry not, I've got good news for you. This is an AI course to help you get adept at using AI. This weekend, you can join the 2-day AI Mastermind workshop by Outskill, the world's first AI-focused education platform. It's happening this Saturday and Sunday from 10 p.m. to 7 p.m. on both days. By attending 16 hours with expert mentors, learners from Outskill have built and shipped over 100 AI products, all with zero code and working revenue models of $3,000 to $4,000. Now, this training normally costs $895, but I've partnered with Outskill to give away 1,000 free seats exclusively for my viewers. This is a brilliant opportunity for you. If you're one of my viewers, you can get an $895 seat for nothing. However, this is only available for the next 72 hours. That's 3 days in old money. I've even got my entire team attending this. That's how valuable it is. Limited seats are available and they're filling fast. Grab yours now via the link in the description. Here's JD Vance saying the same thing, I think. Sort of saying that if you see someone celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder, call their employer. Well, think about it, though. If someone was doing that, I don't want to say, what would Charlie Kirk do, as if it's a sort of a new, what would Jesus do? But Charlie Kirk would want to have a conversation with him. Another of the things I liked about Charlie Kirk, and I've sort of obviously looked at that more posthumously, is like when people would be confrontational. I mean, I did see one where he got pretty angry with Cenk Uygur. I don't know how to say Cenk's surname, just say Cenk generally, don't you? Like, remember, you really lost it with him one time?
Charlie? I live like a capitalist every single day, Cenk.
But generally, people would be confrontational. And well, what do you mean? No, let her speak. What does he mean? That's cool. I like that. I find it difficult, actually, to stay relaxed if I feel threatened or confronted. But here, JD Vance says, call their employer. But, maybe JD Vance is having his own emotional reaction to grief.
So when you see someone celebrating Charlie's murder, call them out. And hell, call their employer. We don't believe in political violence, but we do believe in civility. And there is no civility in the celebration of political assassination. Get involved. Get involved. Get involved. It's the best way to honor Charlie's legacy. Start a chapter of TPUSA or get involved in the one that already exists. If you're older, volunteer for your local party, write an op-ed in your local paper, run for office. I can't promise you this is going to be easy. I can't promise you that all of us will avoid Charlie's fate. I can't promise you that I will avoid Charlie's fate. But the best way to honor him is to shine the light of truth like a torch in the very darkest places. Go do it.
Mehdi Hussein is a person I've been interviewed with a few times, and here these days, of course, understandably, he's a British Muslim. Him talking and even debating for example, Douglas Murray on the matter of Israel-Palestine. Here, I figure he's posting about the right wing's potentially mobile position on free speech. Let's have a look. If you ever had any doubt that right-wing media is just official state propaganda, consider that Charlie Kirk was replaced on his show by the sitting Republican vice president who interviewed White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, independent media. What do you think about that point from Mehdi Hussein? Again, they are human beings, but he is also the vice president. Marco Rubio will not host foreigners who celebrate the death of our fellow citizens. Yeah, I guess, look, well, you want to make sure that this is handled honorably and diligently. And again, human beings are flawed. So you don't actually really even need to get in a position of judgment of whether it's... Remember when it used to be the old folks like Jen Psaki or the young black woman, you know, that was press, and it was Karine Jean-Pierre. People like really got into it, didn't they? Like, I hate that bitch. Like, but actually, you could sort of detect in the young black woman, Karine Jean-Pierre, that's her name, that she was like, oh man, I got to go out here again and defend this asshole. Like, she was like knackered from talking about poor old Joe Biden staggering off into bushes and hedges, wasn't she? Like, how am I going to come up with something today to sling a sheet of wallpaper over this guy's evident Alzheimer's? She was knackered, poor cow. And like now, though, it's sort of different people with a different agenda. The principle should remain absolutely the same. Otherwise, it isn't a principle. Otherwise, it's a tool. A principle doesn't change. If you're using it as a tool, it's like, wait a minute, I can use this thing. I could use this for a moment. That's completely the wrong agenda. Wake up, America. Stephen Miller has already publicly labelled the Democratic Party as a terrorist organisation. This isn't about crime and safety. It's about dismantling our democratic institutions. We cannot allow acts of political violence to be weaponised and used to threaten tens of millions of Americans. Free speech is a principle, is an important principle. That principle only has value if it's able to withstand inconvenience, if it's able to withstand weaponization. It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. Charlie Kirk was pretty clear about what his position on free speech was when it came to his right to go to college campuses and talk about his Christianity, his conservatism, his faith, how he derived views on people's sexuality from his faith, and all of those things were completely legitimate and authentic. To use the political murder of Charlie Kirk to vanquish free expression is a hypocrisy that makes a mockery of his death that I think is actually worse than, say, for example, that dude in the UK celebrating it.
Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, you piece of shit!
I think that's kind of, in a sense, a more offensive response. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments and the chat. Thanks for watching the video. Have a look at this one over here, or join us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on Rumble.